Sam is a great friend and supporter of the business school and graduated in 1998 with a BA Honours Financial and Business Economics degree. Sam has been engaged with the school since around 2009 when I first approached him at an alumni event in London, and the rest, as they say, is history. Sam is our current Business School Alumni Branch Chairman and helps alumni in the capital connect with each other through networking events in various locations around the city, as well as ensuring the school continues to remain connected with its alumni community in London. Sam's credentials speak for themselves, and he will give you an overview of them at the beginning of his presentation. However, having heard Sam speak on many occasions now, I can assure you that you're going to learn something tonight and really start to understand the power of LinkedIn. I can guarantee that for anyone who is not using it at the moment, will no doubt start to from tonight and continue to in the future. Sam's become a valued guest speaker, mentor and career advisor for many of our students and recent graduates, and it's my absolute pleasure now to introduce him tonight and now pass you over to his capable hands. So remember, type your questions as we go along and we'll do our best to handle those. Over to you, Sam.
Thank you, Tris. Thank you very much. And yeah, very good. I really appreciate the introduction, and I really appreciate so many of you being online here this evening. So let me just go to the live presentation. Hopefully you can now see my screen. So just type in if you can, just because that's pretty important at this stage. Can you see the first screen there saying all from LinkedIn? Just type yes if you can see it. Brilliant, fantastic, thank you all. So I'm just going to launch into this, and I want to tell you a story just before I begin, and that's because LinkedIn's been pretty good to me. I started just a few years ago, and what we've actually got from it has been tremendous. What I started doing was actually creating my profile, and as I created my profile, I then thought about, well, what could I do with it? How could I make it better? So I started optimizing with keywords, and I'll tell you more about that later on. Once I got my keywords sorted, I started sharing things, and I started to share things, and a little while later got an email. After I got the email, I was actually then approached to get on a plane to go to India. And this was all because I'd optimized my profile for a particular keyword that I was interested in working on. I was invited to go and speak on an Indian business television show that was called the FedEx International Business League. And I was there sort of while they were setting up backstage, and interviewed for this panel that was hosted by a former Miss World. And it was all because I'd got involved with LinkedIn in the first place, and somebody found me on there. So I'll be showing you how you can optimize your profile and get noticed. So it was just the quickest bit of background story there. Really what I'm wanting to share with you on this is how to make this happen for you, how you can use it to really accelerate your own personal networking. But before I can do that, what I need to do is just find out a little bit about the state of your knowledge on LinkedIn at the moment. So I've got a few polls, a few questions that I just want to put to you. And let me just ask you this one. Let's see if this is going to work on the technology. Do you already have a LinkedIn profile? Now, hopefully you can see that. Just give me a vote there. Almost everybody voted. A few more to go. Someone's making up their mind. So basically, okay, 95% of you have got a profile already. Okay, that's great. I'm going to ask you the next one. How often are you actually using LinkedIn at the moment? Is that daily? Are you using it weekly? Every month? Have you lost your password? Still thinking about it? Okay, roughly a third each. No one's lost their password, at least. That's a good start. But what we've got then is, yeah, some people are using it every day, some people are using it every week, some every month. Interesting, okay. Close that one. Next question for you. How confident would you say you are with LinkedIn at the moment? Should you be doing this instead of me? Would you say you're fairly confident? Are you a beginner? Okay, we've got one person that's going to take over from me. Welcome to that one. I should definitely enlist your help. We've got quite a lot of you. About 40% of you are fairly confident on this, and just over half would say you're beginners with lots to learn. So that's good. Last one of these. What I'm interested in now is, what do you mostly want to use LinkedIn for? Do you want to use it for finding new business, getting a job, building your network, reconnecting, or do you think it's a dating site? Very good. Okay, excellent. No one thinks it's a dating site. That's good. And we've got about 20% wanting to find new business. We'll come on to that more towards the end. 42% interested in getting a new job, and 37% wanting to build their network and reconnect with other people. Okay, that's great. So thank you for that. Let's move on. So in about the next 50 minutes, what I want to do, I've sort of looked at a little bit at your introductions and expectations there. We've got quite a mix of experience, then it seems, on the webinar today. What I want to do is tell you about my biggest and best piece of networking advice for you, something that's really served me well since I've been actively networking for business for the last 7 years. I'm going to take you through 12 LinkedIn profile upgrades. These are things you can do. Some of them you may know, but I'm sure there'll be some new things in there for you. We'll then do a bit of a live masterclass. We'll go live onto my profile. I'll just walk you around 2 or 3 areas there. And then what I'm actually going to do at the end, for anyone who's still here, I will be asking a question and giving away a free tutorial for those people who've managed to make it all the way through to the end. So whoever wins that, we'll take 60 minutes together. We'll get into your profile. We'll go through there and we'll optimize it for you. Absolutely free of charge. At the end, what we're going to do as well is a quick Q&A. So if you've still got questions that are unanswered, we'll get into those. So we've asked about who's here, and I'm delighted to see that there's some people there from Ricky Road and all the rest of you as well. So welcome, and really sort of looking forward to taking you through this. This is just a few shots from when we actually meet up face to face on the London Alumni Group. We've been meeting sort of and gradually growing our group over the last couple of years, but it's nice sometimes to be able to get more people together, and I know how difficult it is for many of us to be able to attend. So when we can't get together, nice to be able to do a webinar. So that's just a little bit more about my background there. So I've started Interview Doctor back in 2003, and since then I've written several books. I've helped a lot of very senior managers and senior executives, as well as graduates and students as well. And during that time, what I've developed is a methodology and approach that really works both with regard to career direction, but also professional CV writing that really cuts through and stands out, getting your LinkedIn profile sorted and ranked, of course, which is the focus of tonight, and also coaching you through interviews and making sure you get the best salary. And of course, getting the best salary is so important. If you start on even 10 or 15% better than you would have done, it really makes a big difference over the long term. So in that time, I've created lots of CVs, worked on lots of profiles, so lots of very high profile people, lots of big jobs, lots of different jobs. So hopefully, and regardless of where you are in the world, these materials and these ideas work. These are some of the books which you can find on Amazon. The 7 Essential CV Upgrades is kind of where it all started for me. It's an approach which has really worked, and we'll be applying some of the principles from that to LinkedIn this evening, but it's something which really does work. That's what I'm most happy about. So this is my passion for networking here. You may have heard of this sociological theory, the strength of weak ties. It's all about increasing your number of acquaintances. And there's this guy, Granovetter, here, who was, and still is, in fact, a professor at Stanford University. Mark Granovetter came up with this theory, the strength of weak ties. He basically says that in your life you have strong ties and you have weak ties. And the The strong ties are the people you are closest to, your best friends, your family, maybe your partner. And what you tend to find is you learn the same things from those people over and over again. You hear the same things, you talk about the same things. But as you well know, if you start to expand your network or you meet new people, then they can bring new ideas into your world. And they're called the weak ties. So it's really all about people who can be bringing new and different things. And it could be a new relationship, it could be a new job opportunity, or it could be a new connection who can help you get a new piece of business. But by getting more acquaintances into your network and keeping in touch with them, I call that servicing your network, it really is a huge advantage. And LinkedIn is arguably the ultimate tool for being able to do that. If you combine that with my best piece of interview advice, this is just that givers gain. It's a very simple idea. If when you're building your network, you think about how you can give, how you can help other people, then you're going to get a whole lot more from your networking. So work out not what you can get, but work out what you can give. And by doing that and starting in that way, you'll find that whether you're working with a recruiter, whether you're working to get new business, you'll find that by giving as much as you can, you'll end up really benefiting at the end of the day. Now, before you start anything on LinkedIn, you've got to be aware of the privacy and what happens with that and what's being shown and what's not being shown. So it's absolutely vital that you know how to change that. Now, top right on your profile, you perhaps notice where you log out at the end, there's a settings area. And we'll go into this later on when we're doing the live demo, but you can turn off your activity broadcast. Now, if you're making a big change, a big update to your profile, you may want everybody to see that, or you may actually want to keep it a little bit quiet if you're still within a job and you're happy with that. So turning that off can be a very useful skill, and also it stops somebody getting an update every time you update every element of your profile. So turn it off while you're doing it, then turn it on when you want people to see it again. You can also see and select who can see your activity feed and filter the amount of people who can actually see what you're doing. So you can shut it right down so only you can see what's happening, or you can have everybody see it and make it very, very open. And there's a few settings in between that. But one of the most interesting things as well is when you can see who's viewed your profile. And if you're actually using it for job search, as about 40% of you are this evening, then those, the most important thing is that you can actually upgrade your profile at that point. I don't recommend it if you're not in a job search situation at the moment, but if you can upgrade because you're looking, what you can actually do there is you can actually see a whole lot more of the people who've been viewing your account, and then you can start to interact with them. You can have conversations with them, you can link in with them, and that's helping with your strength of weak ties. You can start to learn more from them. If you haven't got an upgraded profile, that's actually limited, so you can only see the last 5 people that viewed. So this is a very important picture because your network can be absolutely global, and the more you grow it, the more powerful it will become. So I wanted to start off with out of our 12 ideas with this LinkedIn mindset. It's very much about the relationship first. Make sure you're always sharing, make sure you're being useful, you're giving helpful information to your network regularly, and then you can sell to them later on. So you can ask for them, and when I say sell to them, it may be that you're literally selling to them, or it may be that you're asking for something, some kind of help. But if you're there for them, they'll be there for you. Industry keywords, this is the second big idea. You can use Google Keyword Planner. Now, I've not got time this evening to go into full details of that, but Google Keyword Planner lets you see how often a search term is typed into Google. And that's particularly useful because if you are trying to work out which keywords to plan your profile around, then, now, for example, for me, let me give you an example. I wanted to be found as a speaker. That's how I got to India on that speaking gig. So I'd optimized my profile on speaking, on branding, which was my particular world. And I wanted to find out, should I be talking about brand positioning? Should I be talking about brand architecture, brand management? And this tool lets you find out exactly which search terms get the most hits. And that's particularly important as you're planning how to optimize your profile. So work out which are the essential keywords you want to be found for, what's critical for your industry, and that tool also lets you see the level of competition, because you don't necessarily just want to go for the most searched for term. Sometimes it's better to niche yourself into something that's a little bit less popular so that you can stand out as being the the big fish in the smaller pond. One very interesting point here, I've said use your name as a keyword. Now, why have I said that? Now, I'm a little bit fortunate being called Sam Waterfall. There's not too many Sam Waterfalls. If you have a more common name, then you may know, if you were, so for example, a James Smith, then you've got a lot more competition for your name. Now, you can actually rise above some of the other James Smiths by optimizing your profile for your name as well. So there's other ways of doing it, which we'll come on to in the webinar, but make sure you've got your name not just in the title of your profile. Now, do you know how long your profile will actually be read for? Because a bit of bad news for you here. It's going to be less than a minute, and it's going to be most likely less than 20 seconds. When it's CVs, you've got 6 seconds these days to make an impact, and up to 15 seconds to actually close the sale effectively, to get yourself invited to interview and make that connection. So you've got to be absolutely hard hitting. Now, how do you go about doing that? Well, it's all about headline impact, and we can learn a lot from the tabloid newspapers. What we can learn is that you've actually got to hit with the headline. That's exactly, if you're in London and you see the Evening Standard, or if you're walking past a newsstand and you see the Sun newspaper, it's always all about the headline. And we all read the headline, but only a few of us get onto the subheadline and the first paragraph. And as I'm showing you with this arrow, very few people get down to the bottom of the article. But in LinkedIn, you've actually got 3 lines of value, and most people don't make use of those. So we can learn quite a lot from these journalists' tricks of the trade if we're trying to stand out with our profile. Now, I'm not saying you need to write a headline that's exactly like this one, but of course this probably gets your attention. And if Freddie Starr, ate your hamster, maybe that's going to get in the front of the newspaper as well. The point is here, we all grab that headline, we all catch that. And what happens is that we see the headline, some of us get as far as the subheadline, some of us have rejected it already, and some of us get as far as actually reading the article. And your profile is very much the same. You've got to grab them at the very beginning. So it's all about these first impressions, and an attention-grabbing headline and an attention-grabbing summary is going to be very important within your profile. Now, this is, Albert Herbert had this one down, I think. He said that life is just one damn thing after another. And sometimes a CV or a profile can be like that. If you list everything that you've ever done, it's probably going to lose people. It's just, no one wants to know everything you've ever done. So don't fall into the trap of saying everything. What you need to do is talk about the most interesting things in the most interesting way. So look at this, for example. This is one normal headline. Most people have got this. If you look at most LinkedIn profiles, it automatically fills your headline with your current job title. But wouldn't it be better if you were a marketing assistant if you also said that you had consumer knowledge, if that you were a specialist in consumer knowledge, if you were a blogger, and also maybe you're a marathon runner, and you can fill that in, whatever it might be. Suddenly the profile is considerably more interesting. And based on what you've learned using the Google Keyword Planner, you can put keywords into here, and the keywords that go into your headline are better valued by the LinkedIn algorithm. So as you're actually writing this, you're going to find that you get a better response. Your profile will rank better around these words. So choose these words very, very carefully. What do you want to be found for? Now, here's an example of writing a professional profile. Now, you may have similar experience to this. Your experience may be different. But let's just look at what it actually contains here. So we've got a clear title that sets the tone. Someone gets the idea of who we're talking to here. And we mentioned the sector and the department that we are used to working in. We've also mentioned if we've got any specific expertise. That's very important as well. If you've got locations and companies, that can be very helpful, especially if you want to be working in a global role. And also, you might want to add in some relevant extras or emotional extras. So if you've actually done a successful charity project, for example, or some kind of third sector project, that can go very well to add some colour and something of interest. Or it might be that you've been to a particularly prestigious school, like Newcastle. So this is all about helping you to be obvious. I don't know if you've read this book, and this is probably the best marketing book that you've never read. And if you actually want to get a free MP3 download of this, you can email me. Just email me at sam@interviewdoctor.com, and I will send you the audio file for it. Quite big, but you can then listen to it on your iPhone or your iPad or however you want to listen. If you would rather have the ebook version of this, I can send you that as well. So just ask for one or two of those. It's a very short book, but it's all about making sure that you make your message obvious. And that's incredibly important. Now, your photo. How did you get this right? Don't think that because you were doing some kind of fun activity, you should share it on LinkedIn. Don't also think that when you were on a night out, like I was here, that's a good way of sharing your photo either. It's not about that. A much better photograph would be like this. And obviously Tristan looking very smart here. And so these two are not the way to do LinkedIn. This is very much the way to do LinkedIn. So my big message here is this ain't Facebook, people. Okay, so don't fall into this mistake. I keep saying it, but LinkedIn is about business, so act in a business-like way. Next thing as well, don't be anonymous out there. This is so important. I don't know if you were part of the land grab so far, but there's this thing which means that, like they're not making any more land, they're rarely making more internet when it comes to particular sites. So if you are on LinkedIn, or if you are on Facebook, or you are on Google+, you need to get your name for your URL. And it's called a vanity URL. But just like there were the land races in the US to get the land, you need to get in there first, because if you are second to your name, you're going to be your name 1 or your name 2 or your name 73 or whatever it might be. So I really urge you to go for your vanity URL, and I'll show you how to do this later on. Now, it saves that long, ugly string for your URL that you might have to start sharing with employers or connections. It's far better to have this neat one, linkedin.com/yourname. And it's as simple as that. It looks really professional, and it just shows that when it comes to social media, you know exactly what you're doing. So I'll show you how you can do that. It's called a vanity URL. You can either look it up online, or I'll be showing you later on this webinar. Now we've got a custom link to your website. Now, hopefully you've got your own blog or your own website, or if not, you can open an about.me page, which is very, very simple to do, which would be about.me/yourname. And then what you can do is you can link those websites back into your LinkedIn profile. And this is all about trying to make sure that you can dominate the first search page on Google. If you then customize the name, and I'll show you how to do this later on the webinar as well, I'll show you how to get the ultimate, what's called link juice, the ultimate strength from connecting your other sites together. Because it means then that when someone starts to search for you, they find all of your credentials all in one place. And this really helps you to boost your name. Now, I mentioned James Smith, for example, or John Smith. Now, if you've got a more common name, doing this can boost your profile right the way to the top of the list. It's a great way of maximizing the way that you get found, especially if you have a competitive name. Now, you don't need to create a whole website. An about.me page, you can literally copy paste your summary or a profile from your CV and put it on about.me together with a photograph. You'll need a high-res photograph. So if you've got questions about that, you can ask later in the Q&A. Interests. Now, these should be your keywords. I was working with a client just 3 days ago, and he had got interest down as hill walking, localism, and growing vegetables. Now, I don't care if you're into growing vegetables or not, but it's very unlikely to get you a job for most of the careers that you want. Don't waste these words with growing vegetables or reading or modern cinema unless you want to be a director. Okay, what you've got to do here is use the right kind of keywords. Now, what I mean by that is if your interest and your Google search is telling you that you need to be in brand management, or you need to be a leader, or you need to be a sales negotiator, then make that your interest so that it says that you're interested in the keywords that you want to be found for. And if that sounds formulaic, it is. But remember that you're writing your profile for two readers. One is the person, the human that's going to find this, so it still needs to be beautifully crafted. But you're also writing your profile for it to be read by the computer so that you can get your profile found. That's absolutely critical. So make every keyword count and make sure that your profile is focused on the search benefit. What are the words you want to be found for? Number 7 is making sure that all of the profile content is compelling. Keep it keyword rich, and as I said before, repeat your name. If you have a common name, repeat your name anyway, because it will help your profile show up. If someone just searches on your name, it'll mean you come to the top of the list, or at least closer to it. More on that later. Make it interesting. Tell the stories about your most interesting projects. Don't just list all the normal stuff. Too many people are just putting that they're an enthusiastic team worker and they're dynamic. It's just not enough. Talk about exciting things that make you stand out that nobody else has. And make sure that it matches your CV, because when they've got your CV or your application form, they will go straight to your LinkedIn profile. They will go to Google. Very, very often, for most of us, top of Google, the first search is our LinkedIn profile. They'll find you there. If it doesn't match, they wonder what on earth is going on. It's a very bad start. You need to make sure your paper and your CV offline, your on paper, matches the story online. Who's viewed? This is something that most people know about. It's quite obvious when you're looking at your LinkedIn homepage. It's fascinating, but it's also useful. So make sure that you sign up to the upgraded version if you're in a job search situation, because that way you can find out all the people who've been looking at your profile. If you can only see that top 5, you might have missed the all-important connection who you needed to speak to. Okay? You can, once you've seen someone has looked at your profile, why not approach them? Why not connect with them? They were obviously interested enough in you to have a look. So start that, and you can make sure from that settings area that you can see exactly who has been looking and that they can see you. You may not know that you can also go into settings and you can actually become anonymous. So if you want to sort of skulk around LinkedIn and take a look at a few things while you're preparing for an interview, for example, you can turn off, and then you won't be visible as being yourself when you're looking at maybe your interviewer. If you know who your interviewer is going to be, you can sort of do a little bit of research. Or you might want to go there visibly and show that you're interested. Recommendations. This is so important, absolutely critical. It's all about the quality of the recommendation, as in getting it from a good person with authority and good connections, but it's also about the quantity. And what I mean by that is, as I've said, you're not just writing your LinkedIn profile for humans who are going to read it. It's also for the computer. Now, if humans see good quality recommendations, that's fantastic. But LinkedIn and its algorithms which actually sorts out where you rank with your profile versus all the other profiles when you are appearing in a search result. What you need to do there is you have to get to the top, have quality recommendations from people with lots of connections or from authority jobs, but also lots of them. And it seems from our research that it works in 5s. So if you've got no recommendations and somebody else is optimized for the same keywords as you and they've got 5 recommendations, they will rank above you. If they've got 10 and you've got 5, they will rank above you. And it seems to be that every single time you get to the next 5, as in 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 recommendations, LinkedIn seems to value your profile even more. It's like this social proof. Lots of other people saying, yes, we vote for you. Well done. And as a result of that, your profile rises at the top of the rankings. So this is how you can really get noticed. And not a lot of people know this. So you can request recommendations. And what I recommend you do is that you request them often. Don't request them from people you've not worked with or that you don't know, but go to people who can write an honest recommendation about you. And make it easy for them. You're busy, they are busy. And my tip for making sure you get a quality recommendation is to say, let me pretend I was doing this with Tristan. Tristan, do you know, it would be really helpful, Tristan, if you could write me a recommendation after the work that we've done together, but I know you're really busy. Now, your words would be best, so if you can just think of something to write it, that would be fantastic. However, I know you're really busy. If it's helpful, I can jot down a few lines that would be helpful for me as well, and that will just jog your memory about what we've been doing. And what happens when you've said that is that everybody says, that'd be really helpful. Can you just send me those things? And then I'll make it into the final version. You then get the chance to approve it when it comes in from Tristan, and then you can send it live on your profile. And it's a great way of making sure that you're getting recommendations, that they're honest recommendations, but it starts to really work for you. So don't hold back on these things. People ask also about the endorsements, which are different, and they're easier to just click on those. So not so much to learn about them, but make sure that you're getting endorsed for your keywords. That's the critical thing. So the endorsements are relatively new, but if you're getting endorsed for things that are random rather than the keywords you want to get found for, what you need to do is go to your network, go to your trusted friends and say, can you come and endorse me for this particular keyword or these 3 particular keywords? They will happily do that for you. And then when they're the most clicked ones, more and more people who randomly visit your site will randomly click those, and that will help you to be found as well. Groups. Groups are really important. Now, when it comes to groups, you need to add the right ones. What they do is they let you find other people who are interested in what you're interested in. So it's a perfect source of people who can be very useful weak ties, as we talked about. You've got your strong ties, your best friends and so on, your immediate colleagues, but by joining some LinkedIn groups, you will have your mind stretched in the areas that you want. Now, there's millions, literally millions of LinkedIn groups. So whatever your specialist interest area or your career field, you can find a group that is relevant. So pick relevant groups, start to join in with their conversation, meet people and ask them. People don't know across your network, and this is so important. People don't know that what you're looking for. If you're looking for a job or you're looking for new leads, they don't know that unless you tell them. So make a point of reconnecting with a few people each week or each month and tell them what you're looking for. And then they can be looking out for you. You can actually enlist your network to really help you. Most people don't do that, but it's such an obvious thing to be able to get the progress. It's also a great source of connections if you're trying to build your network. And of course, within each group, there's a jobs board as well. So make sure you're checking those jobs boards and not chopping out your opportunities. Pulse is the new news feed, which is news just for you based on your profile, based on your keywords. They'll send you the most relevant news. You can find and follow influencers. Maybe it's people like Richard Branson or other public figures. You can find out what they're saying. And you can also find that this is a very useful source of information to share. And now, why do I say that? Well, I say that because of this next step. It's important that you are regularly sharing information, useful things with your network on topic and relevant to your keywords. So if you are a lawyer or if you are in branding, then make sure you're sharing topics relevant to law or to branding. And if it's things that are of interest, you can find them from your Pulse news as well as elsewhere on the web. And these updates, and you can link Twitter into this as well so that you're actually tweeting at the same time. The first 140 characters can go out at exactly the same time. And you can literally copy paste news articles into this and share it with your network. Remember, once again, this isn't Facebook. You want to be sharing very carefully. You want to be adding useful links so that you're contributing, building this credibility in the mind of your network. So, in summary there, what you've got is we've looked at your expectations. I know different people here are looking at using LinkedIn in lots of different ways, whether it's for business, for job search, reconnecting. We've started to look at these particular upgrades, and I've told you about making sure that you're a giver so that you can really gain from LinkedIn. Now, what I'm going to do is, at this point, just actually go straight into the live demonstration. So I'm just going to check in with the questions, and Tristan as well, if you've got any comments at this stage, maybe you can...
Sam, sorry.
Any questions?
Sam, sorry to interrupt you there, but I actually, unfortunately, thanks to the technology, cannot see any questions coming in with the system, so you will need to field those or...
okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I think that's the only way around.
If anybody's got questions, do you want to ask them now? And then we'll go straight into the live demonstration piece. Let's just have a look. Yeah, so we've got a question there on the recommendation. So how does this work? Well, when you're doing your profile, let me actually move into this. I'm just going to, I'll come on to that question. I'll show you that one live. And then let's have a little look at I'm just reading a question from Viv. Yeah, so the question there is, once you've got your profile built, and you're competing for the same roles, and a relatively small number of roles, perhaps within a particular targeted area, how do you stand out? Well, that's really about starting a relationship. You've got to get noticed in the first place. So yeah, we'll come on to that one as well. We've had a request to publish the list of attendees with their agreement. Now, we can't do that straight away, but if you're happy for your name to be shared, then you can email us, email Tristan or myself, and we can share if you give permission. So that would be possible. That's good. Okay, so we'll move into the live piece of this. Let me just come out of that. So this is into my live profile. Can you just hit yes or tell me I can see it? Just type in I can see it if you can see that. Thank you, Drew. Just type in yes if you can see it. Getting a bit of a mixed answer there. So what I'm wanting you to be able to see now, I'm trying to, let me just check I'm sharing the right screen for you. Is that better? Can you now see my LinkedIn profile? Thanks. It's not all easy here, Thanks, people. Appreciate it. There we go. Got there in the end. So now you can see into this profile. Now you can see what I've done here. Hopefully you can see this is a relatively smart photograph of me. I can't work on anything better than that. So I've just looked as smart as I can. You'll see here, this is my vanity URL. So that's quite important, having just a very simple, clean, professional looking name in there. So rather than all the numbers and the letters that LinkedIn randomly assigns you. So what I want to do now is go into Edit Profile. So if I go to Edit Profile, what I'm going to do is show you one or two of the tricks and tips. Now, before you start editing, like I said, the thing that you need to do is go into your privacy and settings. So if we have a look in there, so just enter my password because it wants to make sure that it's definitely me. Now this is the area where you work on your privacy. So it says privacy controls, that's very easy. If you want to upgrade, like I said before, that's where you do that. If you're in a job search, I recommend you do upgrade. It's going to cost you about £30 or something similar per month. Just upgrade while you're doing a job search. It's worth it at that time. I don't find it personally worth it when I'm not in a job search situation. Here, turn on or off your activity broadcasts. That's where if you're about to make changes to your profile, you can shut it down so that people don't see that. And here you can see who can select. Sorry, who can see your activity feed. That's what's important there. So you can actually change the privacy. So that's that bit done. I'm going to leave those the same and just go back to Edit Profile. So if I want to change my photograph, I can do that here. I can just upload a different photo. Now, here is where we edit our contact information. Now, what you'll see that I've done here, I've got my contact email address. But what I've done is I've linked in my personal Twitter so that when I do an update, that's actually shared through the same time. It's just very, very easy to do. And then, as you know, I'm a consultant, marketing consultant, as well as working on LinkedIn and people's personal branding. I'm working on products as well. So you can link to my company site there at the Healthy Marketing Team. And if I click on this button here to edit this, what I've done is put in Healthy Marketing Team here. And that means that this keyword, you can see here, it gives you the chance to call this website whatever you want to call it. You can call it a personal website, a company website, a blog, but I've chosen other. When you choose other, it gives you the chance to write in the name of the keywords. I wanted to be found and my profile to be found for Healthy Marketing Team. So if you search on that, my profile will come up. And then you fill in the URL for that particular address. Now, samwaterfall.com is my personal website. And once again, I wanted to be found for that particular search term. I could have just chosen to put Sam space waterfall, which would be different again. And here, I wanted this to show up as being my personal blog. Now, I could have written Sam Waterfall, but I decided I got enough on my name here. But what I mentioned to you before, if you wanted to add another website, which is the about.me profile, you could fit that in and very quickly add a profile here, put your name in. For me, it would just be Sam Waterfall, and I would have the HTTPs, then about.me/Sam Waterfall. And what that will start to do, that will be picked up in Google, and it will also be picked up by here in LinkedIn. That's going to help this profile raise up for the keywords that we put in here. Now, if I just show you, for example, if I was to click on, if I wanted to make this my personal website, then that keyword space is lost, and I just don't get any value from that. And there's no value there at all in linking my profile. So what I want to do is go to Other, and I'm going to change this to Sam Waterfall, and hit Save. Now, if you want to change the name, this vanity URL, go here to Edit. This is very simple to do. What you need to do then is you go down here to your public profile URL, and it says customize your public profile URL. And you can see here what mine is, uk.linkedin.com/in/Sam Waterfall. Now, there are other Sam Waterfalls, but I got there first. So I really recommend, if you've not done this, straight after this call, get in there and do that. Go straight in and update, grab this. This is that land grab I was telling you all about. Get in there, grab the best one. If your name is gone, be creative. Now, I was born in 77. Now, I could put Sam Waterfall 77, but it just tells everyone exactly how old I am. Far better, I think, to put it's Sam Waterfall, or find Sam Waterfall, or Sam Waterfall profile. So find something that's a little bit more creative, or that's going to, you might put your keyword in, for example, and that can be useful as well. I could put Sam Waterfall branding or Sam Waterfall marketing. So I'm just going to cancel that and not make any changes. Now, the last thing I wanted to just show you very quickly was on the recommendations. So if I scroll down here, I've got my, and you can read this at any point, but this is my keyword-rich, hopefully interesting summary. And what I've done there is put all the keywords in that I wanted to be found for and made sure that hopefully that's interesting for someone that finds it. So when I scroll all the way down here, then I get to recommendations. And if you want recommendations, then you need to go in here. So you can manage the visibility of recommendations, or you can ask to be recommended. So here, if we just click on Ask to be recommended. Now, what you'll see here is you've got the opportunity here to choose a job. These are all my past jobs. See, when I was a student there at Newcastle, so if I want to be recommended for being a student at Newcastle, I can do that. So you choose the particular job you want to be requesting for. You click here, all of your connections will come up, and you can add up to 200 at any one time. I recommend doing this in a more personal way so that you can speak ideally on a one-to-one basis and get a really good quality recommendation. Be more personal than this, and also then reword this so that it's not just the standard LinkedIn recommendation. You've got to care for these people. They're going to care for you. If they're going to take enough time, take time to write to them and make an effort there. And then just click send, and that will go off to those people. If you're doing multiple in one go, you can do that, and it doesn't share the same thing with everyone, so they can't all see who's been asked. So that's that one. Now, that is covering most of what I wanted to share with you. And what I will just do is just briefly reiterate what I was saying. Now, that's the first thing that people come to when they see me. Now, I want, at the moment, my profile, although I work in careers and this world as well as marketing, it's a very bad idea to divide your profile amongst all of your interests. So my profile is optimized for my branding, because my LinkedIn and my CV business is almost exclusively through referral. So my clients who work with me come to me through referral. What I don't need to do is then therefore talk about that so much on my LinkedIn profile. That's why I use that to talk about my international marketing. So global food marketing, brand positioning, and these are all keywords I need to be found for. Innovation, speaker, if I want to be found for more gigs like the one I showed you in India. And then I've got my job title as well. So that is in there too. Okay, so that's the way that's working, and it's a very well optimized profile for me. But you need to think about exactly what would the right words be for you. So what I'm interested in now is who would be interested in getting I guess someone spotted that I've got 259 messages. Yeah, that's true. I check them on my phone. What I was going to say now is, would anybody like a free 60-minute, no questions asked, we'll work it all through for you presentation? Who would like the 60-minute free session? Drew, congratulations. You were first. So well done. Speak to me afterwards, sam@interviewdoctor.com. We'll sort that out. Or catch me on Facebook, or indeed catch me here on LinkedIn. So that is great. So Tristan, if you can come back in, what I will do is, let me just bring this back.
Yeah, I'm here, Sam.
I will, hopefully there you can see my connection. So do, everyone who's on the webinar, please join me on LinkedIn. That would be crazy for me not to ask that, because I want you all to be in my network and to become my effective weak ties, so we can all work together. Any more questions? Any more questions? Hopefully, that's been a really clear session for you. Hopefully it's shown you some different things, giving you a different perspective. LinkedIn is so powerful. It really is fantastic. And so that's, very, very useful if you can start to make the best use of it. I ought to just mention as well, if you are in a job search situation at the moment, there's more ways that I can help. So you can find the interviewdoctor.com website. It's all very relaxed. It's all about you. So we can find out exactly how to do it. So I'm going to hand over to Tristan now, who's got a few other ideas. And what I would say is, if you do pick up one of these books for me, please be so kind as to do me a recommendation. That really helps me. It means that other people can find the quality of these books. Spent a lot of time writing them, so that would be that's my request, please. My last comment here is this one. Never doubt that a small group of people, thoughtful, committed people, can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. So work on your small group of people, your network, because it's so valuable. Connect with the right people, get the right recommendations, and connect with the people who've got the expertise to help you get ahead. So that's largely it from me. I'm going to hand over to Tristan, who's going to talk you through this really cool tool from LinkedIn. And thank you all very much for listening, and I'll see you all when we're connected on LinkedIn. Tristan, over to you.
Okay, thanks, Sam. So I'll just wait for that to be moved over to my screen now, everyone. Okay, just bear with me. Okay, perfect. So I just wanted to spend another 5 minutes or so just talking to you about the powerful free alumni tool that I was talking about at the top of the presentation, which has been developed by LinkedIn. You may already know about it, hopefully not, but it is an excellent resource, I think now or in the future, for finding people and building up your network, as Sam was suggesting there. So, you know, getting as many people into your contact network that have a meaningful connection for you, and then leveraging those relationships. So I'm going to show you that in a minute, but just before I do that, I wanted to show you a quick video to highlight how you can leverage the value in the alumni community in finding a job or developing your career, or indeed finding business opportunities. A quick caveat for this video, it is very American. Drew and Evan, if you're both listening, no disrespect meant there at all, but it's just a very American video, but it's brilliant actually, and it's pitched more at students and recent graduates in particular, but I still think it sets the context extremely well for when I show you how to use the alumni tool and how you can think about the alumni network and the ways that it can be utilized and leveraged. So if you can just bear with me for 2 seconds, I'm going to play that video for you now. Just make sure I've got this set up properly.
Can everyone see Tristan's screen? Just type in yes.
Thanks, Sam. Just check that for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Oliver.
Are we looking okay, Sam?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, perfect. So let me just go to the proper PowerPoint presentation view.
Someone said you've got a black slide.
Yep, that's right. Don't worry, the video will show any moment now, so I'm just going to play it now.
Yeah, Viv, relax. It's supposed to be like that, apparently. No sound, Tris.
Your mom's best friend. Start imagining whose shoes you want to walk in. Wow.
Okay, so hopefully everybody was able to see that. So what I wanted to talk to you about, as I said, is this LinkedIn alumni tool. And to get access to that, you just need to go to linkedin.com/alumni. So when you're in LinkedIn, just get rid of some of the superfluous URL and just put in alumni after LinkedIn.com. After LinkedIn.com. So what I wanted to do now is go to that live actually and show you that in action. So let me just go to that and show you. So this is a live view of LinkedIn. Sam, I wondered if you could just make sure everybody's still seeing that. I'll just carry on, but if you interject.
So it's just having it, it's linkedin.com/.
Alumni.
Okay, so I'm just going to share that with everybody.
Thank you. So yeah, so the screen that you're seeing at the moment, I've got it set as University of Durham, but basically what you need to do is once you've come to this page here, you go to change school, and for this example we're going to be looking at University of Newcastle upon Tyne's alumni community. So I'm going to type in University of Newcastle upon Tyne. It should start to appear. Let me do that. Why has that disappeared? Okay, and I'm going to select it. So that's us selected this university. It's just the way that LinkedIn have our university listed on their database. Officially, we are Newcastle University now, but once upon a time, we were University of Newcastle upon Tyne, and that apparently is the way that we've been listed on LinkedIn's database. So that's how I search for us. You can choose the date range of the graduates that you want to find. I usually, in my role anyway, as Alumni Relations Manager, usually just set that at 1900. Obviously, anybody that was born in 1900 who attended the university in 1900, bless their souls, are going to be most likely deceased now, but I still use it as the search term because I know it's going to capture absolutely everybody, even any anomalies that are in the system. So I put attended 1900 right through to the absolute maximum date that I can, 2020, and I usually put include people with no dates so that I know that that is now going to capture absolutely everybody on LinkedIn that has studied here. So at the moment, there is 51,943 students and alumni on LinkedIn. But where I think this is particularly cool is if you want to find people who live in a certain geographic region, which is this column where they live, or you want to find out where they work and you want to try and find contacts in a certain company, you've got this where they work column. We've also got a what they do column, so the different kind of discipline that they work within. You can see those there. If we click through to the arrow on the right, you can also see what they studied at Newcastle University and what they're skilled at and how you might be potentially connected. So that's all well and good, but if you actually want to find somebody, so what you're doing now, if I scroll to the bottom of this page, these people that are appearing are those 51,000, but you're going to want to filter that, right? So if I want to find alumni that work for, let's say, HSBC, I click HSBC, it's now going to give me a list below of all of the people that work for HSBC that are currently on LinkedIn, and they're saying there's 80 students and alumni. And then if I want to actually filter that by the geographic region that they live in, so if I say I want to find HSBC in Hong Kong, and then scroll to the bottom, there is now 6 people that work for HSBC in Hong Kong. And you can just further keep filtering that by the different columns that we have available to us. And then obviously then you can connect directly to these people by following the usual process. So if I click connect, they're not a colleague for me, they're not a classmate. Usually in my role, they're somebody that I say we've done business together simply because they've sat in the classroom here at Newcastle University, and that's the best category for me. LinkedIn only allows you to put so many friends before you have to actually put that they're a colleague or a classmate or that you've done business together, because the whole ethos behind LinkedIn is that you can't just add a load of friends to your personal networks. They need to be meaningful connections as well, and I know friends are, but for some reason LinkedIn have that locked down, so I might have a bit more knowledge about that than I do. But basically, I'd put we've done business together. I would choose the company that I have done business with them. As I say, with me, it's Alumni Relations Manager. For you, you might choose colleague, you might choose classmate, and then you might choose your school. Then you would send that invitation off. But another more powerful way, I think, to get introduced to people, is to get introduced to people that you don't know. So this is all about you building up personal connections in a company that you want to make connections with. Maybe it's for a job, you want a job in that company and you want to get some advice from some people that do a similar role in that company, and you want to ask them to connect and ask questions from them regarding their role and your chances of being employed in their company. If you want to be introduced introduced to somebody, obviously when these bring up the different results below, it tells you whether or not they're a second degree connection. So that means that you're connected to that person through another person. If you already knew these people, it would say that they were a first connection. If you were already connected to them on LinkedIn, this would say that you were a first connection in this little blue box next to their name. The fact that all these people are saying that they're second connections to me means that I actually know somebody or know a few people that know these people that can actually introduce me, which I think is a really powerful way, a more effective way of getting introduced to these people. So to do that, I would click Nick Moore's name. I would go and look at his full profile. And then as I would scroll down this page, on the right, you're going to see where my mouse is in a minute, how you're connected. So I know a guy called Tim Solis, a girl called Charlotte Armitage, and a guy called Graham Burnett, who could all introduce me to Nick. So I would click Get Introduced. I would then click Tim or whoever, and then I would put my subject line of the message to Tim, and then why I want to be introduced to Nick. And I would say, hi Tim, I want to be introduced to Nick because I'm interested in working in this sector, and I don't personally know him, but I see that you know him. Would you please mind introducing me to him? And because Tim knows that guy personally, and you're reaching out to connect with Tim through the alumni community, and I say to students actually quite often that you should use that line within your request, that you're a fellow alum of Newcastle University, or you're a fellow student and you're really keen to work in that area. Would he please mind forwarding your request, because you'd be really keen to get that advice from somebody in the field or in that industry. 9 times out of 10 those people will do that for you. I find this whole alumni tool is simply a door opener for our alumni or students. So because you share that common experience of studying at Newcastle University, you've sat in our classrooms, you've experienced our courses, you will be far more likely to get a positive outcome from the connections that you make with these people. So this alumni tool for me is a brilliant way for you to start building your personal and professional networks. And Sam was talking about groups. Now, the business school has its own alumni group, and I'll show you that in the presentation in a moment anyway, the link that you can click through to join, which I'm sure you will have already done. But if not, we really recommend that you join our alumni groups too, because that's another way for you to network and start connecting with these people individually. But that is the bones of that alumni tool. So, all right, that's looking at University of Newcastle upon Tyne, but you will also be a graduate potentially of another business school or another university. I know Sam is a graduate of ours and of Durham's down the road. We won't shoot him for that yet. But you can also search for Durham University's alumni network here too. So if you have an affinity or a link to another university or another business school, then by all means, just change that school up using the button there on the right that my mouse is over now, and select that university and select the date ranges of people that you want to connect with, and actually build your connections for free using this tool from all of the universities or schools that you've actually attended. And for me, I've never seen a database system as powerful as this, that enables you to filter down personal connections from an alumni community. Even universities' databases aren't as intelligent as this, I have to be honest. This is just one touch, find people quickly, easily, connect with them immediately. And this grey shaded out section that you can see behind the boxes is the year that they graduated to, just at a glance for you to see. So I think that's probably the most detail I could probably give you on that, and I'm more than happy if you want to do another conference call personally on a one-to-one level to go through that, but it's one of those things that you just need to log on and have a play around with, to be honest, and you'll start building up your connections really quickly, and it's brilliant for opening doors. And I've got lots of examples of students and alumni that have used this to find job opportunities, get career advice, find a mentor even potentially, or even open a door for a business opportunity if they've got their own small business, or indeed they work for a company that's looking to develop business opportunities. So that's the LinkedIn alumni tool, which I think is a brilliant one for you to get involved with. If I just go back to the presentation. So I've put a link on this slide for you. That first link is LinkedIn, a LinkedIn resource page, and it has some quite useful presentations and fact sheets for students and alumni in using LinkedIn for improving your profile, leveraging the community, the alumni community and the alumni tool. group information is on there. Some of the things that Sam's talked about, it's all available on that first link. So by all means do check that out, because you will find some useful information for relating to the conversation that we've had this evening. I've also included the link there for the Newcastle University Business School Global Alumni Programme. So if you go ahead and click that link, you'll be able to go through and join the Business School's alumni community that are on LinkedIn. There are subgroups that belong to the main Business School Alumni Programme. So we have geographic subgroups. So depending on where you are in the world, you can join those subgroups. We also have an MBA alumni subgroup, so if you studied our MBA program, you can join that and network with the MBA alumni from that program. So we've tried to, drill that down a little bit so that when we send targeted messages, they're more relevant to you, but also they're useful for you if you want to network with people, say in London. Go to the London group and look at the contact list that is associated with that group and start connecting with the people, either by posting a discussion group saying you're open for connections, or just bringing up the list of people that are members in that group and connecting to them directly. So please do, by all means, sign up for those. And to be honest, I think that sort of formally concludes this session for me, and I'll bring Sam back in a moment there. But if you wouldn't mind now just literally spending 1 minute just completing our online feedback for us, and if you could all do that, we would greatly appreciate it. If you just click that SurveyMonkey link and fill that in now, I'll just hold on for a minute while you're doing that so that you can give us your feedback. And then once you've done that, again, if you wouldn't mind, there's a little link at the bottom of that page, which is our graduate profile form. So for anybody that is an alumnus of the business school, but not necessarily the university, this is more for business school alumni, if you could also complete that, that just lets us know what you're up to now, gets us to update our database with your new contact details, and we also use that information quite regularly for showcasing you across our alumni community and helping with recruitment initiatives and profile raising activities in particular. So if you, as I say, if you wouldn't mind just doing that SurveyMonkey for me now, that would be great. And then that link at the bottom to follow the SurveyMonkey when you get 5 minutes. And what I'll do is I'll probably send this presentation around following this webinar so that you can complete one of those in your own time. So let me just come out of the presentation and let me just stop sharing the screen for a moment. And I'm just going to check SurveyMonkey as we're going there.
The links are now in the chat.
Perfect, thanks, Sam. So yeah, if people wouldn't mind completing that for me, I would really appreciate it. And yes, and that's it. Sorry, I'm just checking SurveyMonkey as I'm speaking there to see if anyone's completing that. It seems to be coming through a little bit slowly, so yeah, I will wait another minute or so. But I would just like to take this final opportunity to thank you all very much for attending this evening. Thanks, Sam, once again for his dedication and commitment to the school and sharing all of his knowledge on LinkedIn. I thought that was a brilliant session. Thank you, Sam. As always, some great little tips and tricks in there, and hopefully people are taking something away from this evening and can actually make some immediate amends to their profile. If you want to get a hold of the recording of the webinar, please email me, tristan.alltimes@ncl.ac.uk or bsalumni@ncl.ac.uk, and I'll get that sent over to you following the webinar. So I think that's it for me. Thank you so much for attending. We hope you've learned something, as I say, and we look forward to welcoming you to a future event. Have a lovely rest of your evening. Thank you for attending. Sam, do you want to say anything else before we close off?
Thank you all for staying. I really appreciate that. Webinars often get a lot of drop off. You're all still there, which is just fantastic. So I really appreciate it. That probably means that we've been doing something right. So I really hope that's the case. This networking, by the way, it can really work for you. Just go to town with it. Use those recommendations. Think really hard about your keyword optimization. If you've got more questions, do get in touch with me. Most importantly, let's not just keep it as an online thing. It'd be great to meet you all in person. We will have future get-togethers for the London alumni, so I really hope to meet a lot more of you in person and welcome you in person to those. Thank you very much from me.
Thanks, Sam, and good evening, everybody. Thanks again for attending.